Well, it's me again. I've got so much to say. Um, I am part of a group on Facebook called Surviving New Prudent Life in France, where we share tips on how to shop frugally, or where there are bargains, how to keep warm. I know that's a stupid thing, but some of the houses here that we live in are big old stone houses um, that aren't as warm as a centrally heated smaller house in the UK. So we share tips about how to heat your house, how do you light your log burner, how to save money, um, and lots of other things. I can't even remember them at the moment. But there was one that came up yesterday was about how do you start your fire in your log burner. I mean, we're obviously getting back to that time of year now where we're going to be lighting fires, and at this time of the year you might light a small fire, so you might burn 2 or 3 logs of an evening just to sort of warm the house or warm the room through. um, but what do you use? You use firelighters, you chuck petrol on it, um, and people come up with various things. We get our shopping comes in paper bags, quite thick paper bags, since they replaced all the plastic ones, and you can give them back, and we do give them back. But before they started taking them back during COVID, we saved them, so we've got quite a lot of them in the garage that we can bring 2 or 3 through and use those as a bit of a fire starter. And then there's always, because there's like an acre here, and trees, there's always fallen twigs and small branches, and every so often we collect those up, and we've got lots of areas, like there's a couple of small sheds that we can put them in and leave them and let them dry, and then go and take some out of there for fire starting. So layer of the paper and some of the twigs. I think there's probably one small firelighter in there as well, and then away it goes, and that normally works. But what motivated me to do this video was that we've become, over the last 3 years, I think it was 3 summers ago, um, we started to use grey water more, and it wasn't motivated by money. For me, it wasn't motivated by money and saving money. It was motivated by feeling incredibly guilty about how wasteful we are with water that comes out of a tap, or that we flush the toilet with, and watching refugees and watching people in less developed countries having to walk miles and miles to get water, and having to be really sparing with water, um, and needing that water for drinking and for cooking, and using other water um, for other things, and not having water that they can flush away what they do in the toilet. So I got a bit, I can't think what the word is, but I got a bit, I went off on one, I suppose you could say, and started saving water. So every sink in that, we've got 2 bathrooms and 2 toilets. Every sink has a bowl in it. The shower has a bowl in it. And the water that we collect in that during drought periods goes into watering cans. So there were watering cans all over the house. But when we don't have a drought, which we haven't really had this year, the water goes to flush the toilet. Um, and that's all, actually, to flush the toilet. I don't think I've had to water the plants with it this year. We've got water butts, but we've not had that sort of summer. So the 2 summers before this were drought, but this summer there was some hot couple of weeks that were really hot, and the stuff started to get dry, and I may have used the grey water for that. But um, yeah, we use it to flush the toilet, and we don't flush the toilet when somebody's just peed in it, and we leave that, and then only flush it when somebody's had a poo. So that saved us, in the first year that I started doing that, our water bill halved, which was a bit of an added bonus because I hadn't done it for that reason. Um, so I've continued to do it. But I'm horrified if there's anybody in the house that's running water, needlessly running water, it just it pisses me off that we're so ignorant of how other people manage water and don't have water. The whole thing at the beginning of COVID, back in 6,000 years ago when COVID began, and that whole piece of poo of the Prime Minister washing his hands, singing happy birthday to you, with water running. You don't need the bloody water to run. You can put some water in your hand, turn the tap off, soap up, and then turn the tap on and rinse off. You don't need the water to run. You don't need the water to run when you're using a toothbrush. I've noticed that Mark does that far less now. It's taken quite a long time to persuade him not to have the water running all the time you clean your teeth. It's incredibly wasteful and incredibly selfish. It just amazes me. So that's what motivated me really, and I haven't written about this yet on surviving a new prudent life in France. I'll probably share this video on there. I may have shared it years ago, been in the group for years, I might have shared it a year or two ago. But I really find it hard. And if we have a cleaner, which we haven't now, but when we had a clean. No, I won't talk about that. I won't talk about that, but that pisses me off when I can hear the shower being cleaned and water running for 10-15 minutes. Like, oh God. Anyway, what do you do to save money? What would you do if you were living in France? How do you live prudently? Where are your money saving tips? Where do you shop? How do you upcycle? I think upcycling stuff. We do a lot of that. We've done a lot of that in the past, and it's only recently that having upcycled and upcycled and upcycled down at the chicken run, we finally had to spend quite a bit of money on it because there's only so much you can do, and the chickens were escaping, and water was getting into the coop, and but we upcycle a lot. And there's loads of CRAP around in the garden. When we moved in, there was loads of not literal CRAP, but you know, just stuff that you think, well, what's that? What on earth is that? Why do we need that? But over time, we've used it and made it into something else, or used it as part of a barrier, or Mark. We had a metal shelf unit down in one of the big outbuildings at the bottom of the garden, and it was one of those it was not angle poised, but it was metal and it wasn't very stable, and eventually it just keeled over, and it kept keeling over, and he took that apart about a year ago, and made it into a new door for the chicken coop. So the door to the chicken coop is pretty solid. So the shelves are the door, and the angled bits join the shelves to make a door. Bloody good door. It's so clever. Anyway, upcycling, really important if you're wanting to save money, and really good for the environment. And you know, we're such a throwaway society, and there isn't an away. And I, try hard not to throw things away. We have the charity shops here, and we donate stuff to there that we no longer need, but really hate throwing stuff away. Lots of things I hate. Try not to talk to them about them on here, but this is really about water, prudent living in France, and that's it really. So bon dimanche tout le monde, and I'm sure I'll be back. I've got so much more to say. À plus.